Hello everyone, welcome to Tommy's Station. Another steamy Sunday. This is part 3. Over in the far corner I shall bring around my 462 City of Nottingham. Now this logo was always paired with the LMS coaches, or Crimson coaches, sorry, not LMS. So this logo I bought the same day as my Merchant Navy 462. So that's some 12-13 years ago. So there we are. So it's a very nice runner. Never had any problems with it, except when it was new, two of the pickups on the front were out of position and it was touching the spokes of the wheel, so that was a simple fix. So off we go again. And I changed, as I said in my part 1, I changed the position of the coaches so they're running with the point instead of against them now, so the locos are tending to run a lot better. It is going up over the gradient. So as that one's running around, I'll bring the next one. Let's see if I can get this one to start off nice and smoothly. There we go. So this is my County of Cornwall, another Hornby. This one I featured as a service and repair video where I showed the end result of some hard work. This one was very noisy, and it has what I would probably guess is the smallest ring filled motor that's ever been fitted in a loco. Very small indeed. So the only thing is they need quite a bit of voltage to get them to start off, and then once they're running they smooth up nicely. So there we are, there we go, not too bad. So it's a much better than when I first bought it. It was used, the tender connection was broken. Like I say, it was such a poor runner. You'd have to give it almost maximum power and then it would take off, and like I say, extremely noisy. But now, after a lot of work, it's running quite well. I did look at modifying the motor, possibly fitting a CD motor, but it's impossible. The way the chassis is designed, there's just no room for it. So anyway, I'm going to leave it well alone. It's running quite well. So we'll just pick the speed up a bit, then I can stop it. Yeah, we'll stop it there. Well then, the next loco to come around will be my large prairie. This is pulling a total of 15 vans plus a brake van. This again is a Hornby. As I mentioned before, I bought quite a large number of brand new steam locos just before I actually built the layout, so that I had them ready to run, and this was one of them. So I bring it to a gentle stop. Now this one, from day one, never really ran how it should have. It used to surge, and this also took quite a bit of starting voltage to get it to run. And he wasn't happy crawling at all. So a couple of days ago I thought I'm going to have a good look at this one. So as part of my running on Sundays, I'm servicing them all one by one to make sure they're running well for the day. And I found this was the culprit, the motor. My test track has a separate power supply, and it has an ammeter. And when I put this on 6 volts, the ammeter went over to almost 2 amps, which is way over the top. And then when I ran it to 12 volts, it was almost 3 amps. So obviously the fault was in the motor. So what I've done now, I fitted a 5-pole motor. It's one of 5 I bought for my Mahano and Pico locos, and all I had to do was trim the end of the rear shaft down just maybe a millimeter for it to fit into the slot where the motor locates. So we'll start it off again. Very nice runner now. I also noticed before I took the motor out, I looked at the mesh between the worm drive and the gear, and it wasn't in the right position. So that could have been another reason why it was running not running so nicely. So with my new gear puller, I pulled the gear off, and then when I pressed it onto the 5-pole motor in my vise, I did it step by step and kept refitting the motor to make sure the worm drive was aligned with the gear properly. So I believe that might have been one of the problems why it was running like surging. So as you can see, it's running very, very well now. I'm very happy with it. And these are a good loco for pulling because of their weight. This is an all metal chassis. It's very heavy, which is perfect for pulling heavy loads. There you go, over the bridge. Very happy how it's running now. Well worth spending the time on it and investigating the cause of its poor running. So as it comes around, I'll slow it down again. Slowing it right down now. The difference these 5-pole motors make is amazing. So there we go. That's a nice crawl. There we go. So my next locos, I'll just zoom around this way, are my small prairies, for want of a better word, standard prairies. I'll set this one off. Now these are pulling, they're double headed obviously, these are pulling 18 coal wagons, There we go. So this first one they're both Bachmann. The first one, the GWR, was again not performing how it should have. Sometimes when you started them off from cold, you had to give it quite a bit of power and sort of get it to warm up. So again, I've stripped this one right down, took the motor out, cleaned it, re-lubricated everything, checked that everything was in line, and now it's running very, very well. Better than when it was new. I also had a problem with the wheels on this. I don't know if anyone else has encountered this, but the wheels were like chrome plated. That's the only way I can describe them. Could have been nickel, I'm not sure, but the chrome was coming off, and that was from a brand new loco. So it's taken me a long time to get the wheels sorted out, but now it's an excellent runner. The British Rail Prairie, never had an ounce of trouble with it, never. So just pick the speed up a touch more. Like I say, they're not exceptionally heavy locos, so to pull this amount of wagons I double-headed them, and it's also a chance to give them both a run and show how they run well together. There we go. So that's the rake of coal wagons as they come around the top. Running very, very smoothly together. It's not always the case that you can double head successfully, even if the locos are from the same manufacturer, they're the same type. It's not easy to get them to run at exactly the same speeds. However, I've been lucky with these two. They run exceptionally well together. And it's important that one isn't pushing the other one or one pulling the other one too much, otherwise there's too much load on the motors. I also had, I'm just recapping now, I also had problems with the front leading wheels on the GWR Prairie, so I changed those. I can't remember which wheels I used, but I changed the original wheels so these have a slightly deeper flange. I think it was derailing a lot at the time. I like the Bachmann locos. Probably they have more detail than the Hornby, and also the pickups are easier to maintain. They're not an overly complicated loco mechanically, very easy to service. So there we go, they're coming around nicely now. I'll slow the speed right down. As far as I'm aware, these are 3-pole motors. There's nothing special about them. When I stripped the first one down to clean it, well, I didn't strip it down, but I took it out and cleaned it. I submerged it in my track cleaning fluid and ran it to wash it out, and the result is nice smooth performance. So there we go. Thank you for watching. Bye now.